Evelyn to Philip, V-mail dated January 26, 1945. My dearest Phil, tonight I am very, very happy. Only your presence could make my happiness complete. Mr. Bellet went to New York for the day and left Mrs. B to look after us. We closed the store as usual and took the L and bus to get home. When we got off the J bus, my dad and I walked home, and I said I would see him shortly as we parted at 4920. He went into the house, and I proceeded to walk to 4906. As I walked, I chanced to see Teddy Krause, who said to me, "Aren't you happy that Eddie is home?" I said yes, but I wish he were really at home in his own house. So he said, "Eddie Powler is home, 'cause I saw him this afternoon." Well, honey, I picked up my feet and ran like hell to 4920, and I hear a terrific racket as I knocked on the front door. Yep, Ed is home for good, and it's swell to feel so happy about something these days. We hugged and kissed and talked for a few minutes as Ed was eating supper and I had to get home and eat too. After dinner, I went back and we all gathered in the living room and were dancing with Adele. I wish you could see her jitterbug with Ed. While we were all carrying on, I heard someone knock on the door, and it was Goldie with the news that Jack Nierenberg was on the phone long distance. So for the second time in one night, I dashed to 4906 and had a conversation with Jack. He said that his ears have improved since he had the operation, but that they are not better than they were previous to it. In other words, he had become worse after the operation, which is generally the case, and was at least normal now. He told me that he had mailed me a money order for the pin, as I had requested, and I begged him to come into Philly for a day or so he could manage if he could manage it, for I want to see for myself how he has improved. He said he feels much better and that he will definitely try to be in Philly if it is at all possible. The doctor asked him to request another 7-day extension so that he, the doctor, could care for him that much longer. It was good to talk to him, and somehow when I talk with him, I feel that much closer to you, honey. Oh, darling, how I love you and want you. Your V-mail of January 11th, you had a terrible headache that day, and I'm glad it passed. And your November bond, finally, and a V-mail from Mickey Brown composed my mail for the day. I had just finished writing to the War Bond office the other day. The bond is for November, but it was made out on January 22nd. Chicago is very hard hit by the manpower shortage, so that may be the cause of all the trouble. Well, baby, is that a full day or is it? If only I could take you in my arms and love you as I want to. I wear my fur coat and fur-trimmed galoshes to work each day, and this morning the cop on the corner who comes into our store at times, a big Irish fellow, said, "Hiya, Puss in the Boots." Everyone has been telling me I look like a Russian in the outfit, and this particular remark made me laugh. Ed particularly likes the fur coat and thinks I got a very, very good buy. Ahem. He can't get over Adele, and she loved when he played roughly with her. She loves rough stuff. For that matter, so do I when practiced by you, baby. More tomorrow, darling, but in the meantime, would you mind very much if I kissed you soundly? No, I didn't think you would. Your Ev. Philip to Evelyn, V-mail dated 26 January 1945. My darling, there was no mail at all today, and because not much of anything happened, I figured this V-mail form would be sufficient for what I have to say. Seems like it gets colder each day. The frost is thick over everything, but even though it looks pretty on the trees and all the foliage, it is too damn cold out to enjoy the effect. Walking down to dinner with a biting cold wind smack in my face was no picnic, I assure you, Chippy. Filling my pen just now, I was reminded of the circumstances under which I received it. Looking back, it doesn't seem so long ago that you and Jackie and Harry, where was our Jack at the time, passed your gift of the pen and pencil set to me across the table at the Music Village. It might please you to know that the pen has given me wonderful service and is coveted by almost everyone who uses it. I use the pencil very little. I've been pretty busy all day, but not nearly as much so as I expect to be in a few days when the end of the month and new month rush starts. Before it does, though, I'm going to take a couple days off, so if I can. I know, honey, that you aren't very happy with V-mail, so just by way of making this a welcome letter, I'll tell you a little secret. On February 1st, the day after payday, I'm going to send you and the pumpkin something nice through the PX. I won't tell you what it is, because I know how you love surprises. Do you love to hear me say I love you, Ev, even though it's not a surprise? My dearest love to my very own pumpkin and all. Devotedly, your Phil. Jack Nierenberg to Evelyn, January 26, 1945. Dear Evelyn, I too am sorry I missed you when I called. I had intended to phone again, but always got sidetracked. Now I'm writing this letter because, though I may call tonight, I'm liable to be someplace again where I can't do it at the time you'll most likely be in. About my hearing, Toots, I'm afraid I didn't explain it properly. It's not so good as your enthusiasm shows you believe it to be. The difference between now and when you were here is this. Now I can hear in that ear over the phone when someone speaks loud. Before the operation, I could hear when someone spoke normally. Immediately after the operation, I couldn't hear over the phone at all. It has improved very little. I hope it continues, but if it doesn't, I won't worry about it. Ev, I'm sorry this is sloppy. I broke the pen I started with. This is awful. Your mood of your first letter to me had me worried about you. Ev, a little foolishness that does no one harm is nothing, but too much seriousness and lack of a stopgap for your emotions aroused in such cases as for your girlfriend's loss, well, that can be bad. I'm glad Phil hasn't thrown you over for some blonde, which is indicated by the bunch of letters you received. Ev, I was going to send you the money for the pin in this letter. I'll wait until late today when I can get a money order. Meanwhile, I'll mail this. My love to you all, and a little extra to the swell girl this is written to from Jack. P.S. Hold the pin till I tell you when.